morning, everybody. I'm the Gulf Coast Granny. I just finished making the chocolate syrup video and thought that I would go ahead and show y'all how to make some chicken stock or chicken broth. If you'll remember, in my chicken soup video, I was telling you about how I freeze it in the ice cube trays and then stick it in a gallon bag. Well, that's what we're going to do today. Now, you need a big pot. Stick that big pot up there and start slicing and dicing. I'm only going to use the ends of the celery that the kids won't eat. Take that end off. This looks. You wash this in the sink real fast. They won't eat the leaves. I won't either. I don't even like celery. And they won't eat the white part. So, I'm going to use that for my chicken stock. I'm going to throw it right there in that pot. I knew something was missing. I misplaced my cutting board. You know, I think everybody ought to have two cutting boards. I use a wooden one for vegetables, and then I use a plastic or something that's not porous, glass, for meats. And that's just so that the germs from the meats won't penetrate the cutting board, which is probably a good idea for everybody. Then I'm going to cut up these. I got a little bit of onion left over from when I made something the other night. I don't know what I made. I forget. Heck, I can't even remember what I did when I woke up 30 minutes ago. I think I'll use another onion. I cut it in half. I take off the both ends. You saw me do that. And I take off that first layer of yuck, whatever that is. It looks like wax paper. And then I just go to chopping it. One thing that you will learn about cutting onions, number one, they make you cry. But there's two ways to keep from getting those fumes in your eyes, at least most of the time. And I'm not doing them right now, but I'll show you on the next half. If you keep it face down like that, cut side down, and you just slice through it like this. $99 and 44 100ths of the time you will not cry. And as soon as I finish cutting an onion, I go to the sink and I rinse my hands off. And that definitely does the trick. Another thing you can do, I've heard of freezing your knife. That takes too long for me. And I've also heard of wetting your knife, which kind of makes sense. But I feel like the way I do it is the easiest for me. I'm going to cut up some of these carrots randomly, like this. And I don't even think it's chicken broth without these three things in with your chicken broth. Or your water. Now, I'm also going to take this salt container and probably put that much salt in. I know it's a lot, but trust me, I've got a lot of water going in here. I'm also going to, let me get that sugar out of the way, put some garlic in it. And really, I'm using about the same seasonings as I use in my chicken soup. I just don't put the rosemary and the cayenne pepper in it. Where is it? There. And I'm going to put a little bit of thyme in there. Well, not a little. Probably a teaspoon and a half. There. Oh, did you know? In one of my videos, the chicken soup video, in fact, I was trying to put garlic all over the chicken. Well, the sifter was not on the top of the jar, and it dumped out all over the cutting board. I'm going to tell you what, it never fails. But I said, well, I wonder who did that. Come to find out it was me. You know, getting old's not for sissies. Really is not. Anyhow, I got that done. Next thing we're going to do is take this pot over to the sink and fill it up with water. Now, in my last video, I said that I used chicken quarters to do that. Well, today, I don't happen to have any chicken quarters, but I do have a few legs. And you know when you make chicken wings, if you buy chicken wings, there's always that little piece on the end. Well, guess what? That makes broth too. It's got a bone and it's got a little bit of meat. Now, it's not going to make chicken soup, but it will make broth. Okay. I filled this up about 2.5 inches from the top. This is, I believe, a 10-quart stock pot. And then I'm going to take the leftover parts of the wings right here, and I'm going to pour them in here. I don't know how many I've got. A bunch. I save them all the time because, number one, I like to do this with them. And number two, my dogs absolutely love the little tips. And they'll eat them completely raw, and it's okay for them. The only time you don't give dogs chicken is when it's cooked. That's when your bones can splinter. I'm going to get me a drink of tea. Turn this stove on to high and get it to boiling. I will probably let it boil for, well, I'll get it to a boil and then I'll turn it down to a simmer. And I will probably let this simmer till there's half a pot of liquid in it. Don't know exactly how long that'll be, but I'm going to guess about an hour, hour and a half. We'll see if I'm right. Anyhow, I will be back when this is done, and I'll show you how to get it in those. Well, I'll show you what I do with it next. All right? All right, everybody, my soup stock is done. And it is about halfway down the pot, like that. I'm going to scoop out a couple of these leg thigh, or drumsticks, and stick them in this bowl over here. I'm going to peel the meat off and give it to the dogs. Now, I've got a bowl here with a colander in it. We're going to have to strain all that stuff off. All those vegetables and things that we were cooking before. And I want to tell you, it took a little longer than an hour and a half for this to simmer down like it did. I'm going to say closer to 3 hours, but then again, I ended up in the shower and cleaning and doing a lot of other stuff before I come back and looked at it. So, who knows, but I'm going to say about 3 hours. So I'm going to pour it in this colander. Strain out all that stuff. Put the colander in there so I don't have to bother with it right now. And then I'm going to take this sieve with a screen on it and stick it over this bowl. And we're going to try to sift out all of the smaller pieces that we don't want in our broth. Ew. slow it's coming out of there? That stuff's thick. Alright, that's all. Now, take my ice trays and line them up 3 at a time, because that's how high I can stack them in my, what, I'm going to use this. Have more control over it with a smaller thing. And we're going to just pour it in these ice trays. And I'm probably going to make a great big mess, because that's what I do. Don't fill your ice trays all the way up to the top. Leave a little bit of room, that way they'll be easier to crack. I'm going to tell you, I got these ice trays at the Dollar Tree for $1, 3 for $1. And these are the single best ice trays I've ever used in my life. They're on the dollar aisle if you want some. They got all different colors. And they're smaller than your average tray, but they stack in the refrigerator real well. And they crack easily. You know, a lot of times you get an ice tray, I don't know if you've ever had to use one. Young people today, they're so used to ice makers in their refrigerators. But years ago, ice trays used to be nearly impossible to crack into once they got frozen. These are not. You just crack it and it's done. That's what I love about them. So if you want some good ice trays, go to the Dollar Tree and grab you some, okay? You know, I know this seems like a lot of work for a little bit of reward, but honestly, the flavor that you get out of these is the big reward. If you don't care enough about flavor in your food, well, you're probably not watching my channel. The rest of this broth looks awfully muddy, so I'm just going to pour it out. And stick these in the freezer. One thing you want to be really sure to do is to let your broth cool down enough that you can handle it. I tend to make a mess, and every time I stick the ice trays in the freezer, I spill it all over my hands. And if it's super scalding hot, that's going to hurt really bad. So that's what I do. I just leave it on the stove until it cools down, and then I get to work. Anyhow, that's it. That's all you have to do when the ice freezes and it's finished. Just get you a gallon Ziploc baggie and crack your trays, stick your ice in there, and you've got flavor for days. Y'all have a good evening. It is evening now. And I'll see y'all again next time. Bye-bye.